Do I need to be louder? Or do you need to be quieter? Hi everyone. Hi. Hi. Guys, we're gonna start. Everybody good? Welcome to Crypto Mondays. This is a very special edition of Crypto Mondays. The Solana Super Team Startup Village they're very kindly hosting us, so big shout out to them. Can everybody from Super Team just put your hand up and give a wave? Hi guys. Thank you so much. And can I get also the Crypto Mondays team, can everybody put their hands up and say hello? Hi, Crypto Mondays. Guys, how many of you have been to Crypto Mondays before? Let me see a show of hands. Hi. And how many of you guys are brand new? Nice, beautiful. Well, welcome. It's so lovely to see you. So guys, Crypto Mondays, just really quickly, my name is Caitlin. Crypto Mondays has been going since 2018. The whole purpose of it is to provide education and networking opportunities for people such as yourselves and anyone who is interested in learning about anything to do with Web3. So we are a nonprofit and we are very generously sponsored by these people right here, BitGet. Big shout out, Economy, Kudos, the Digital Commonwealth, Jade City, Vault 12, Voice of Crypto, Coin Rule, Shine, Beam, and of course, Blockchain Sensei. There's actually a difference there. Thanks, guys. So really quick, I would just love to hand the mic over to Cap from Super Team UK, and he's just gonna give us a quick intro. Hi, Cap.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming to join us. As Caitlin said, we've been running this London Startup Village for the last week and it's open until next Thursday. So feel free to come and join us over these coming weeks as we're able to help bring together the ecosystem here in London. Crypto Mondays does an incredible job in the last few years being able to create that monthly event for everyone to be able to come to. And so what Super Team is set up by the Solana Foundation a few years ago in order to be able to help be able to build up from the grassroots. It's kind of like the local fork of the ecosystem. So when we knew we wanted to be able to expand out, we couldn't do it as a centralized team. We need to be able to empower local community leaders in order to be able to help build out things from the bottom up. So we started our UK one last June. We actually just published our 1-year anniversary video on Twitter. So that's a great place to be able to go check out, see all the cool stuff we've been up to. You can scan the QR code there to be able to get like a little look into it and then also a breakdown of what we've got going on. Our key main focus is being able to help either businesses be able to grow and hopefully become a unicorn. We have a North Star and we want to help that unicorn grow, and when they're up there doing the Oscar speech, they're like, I couldn't have done it without these guys. They were there for me from day one and helped guide me all this way forward. And on the other side, we want to help you earn, not buy your crypto. We want to allow you to level up and upskill in certain key areas that we know the ecosystem is looking for, to help you either get full-time jobs, to help you get contract work, so that you can really be able to get fully immersed and go full-time into Web3. We host these really cool co-working spaces every few months to be able to create the opportunity to bring the ecosystem together, and we're grateful to be welcoming Crypto Mondays in here today. So if you're interested to be able to learn a little bit more about how you can be able to get involved and be able to be joining us on the adventure growing the Web3 ecosystem, scan the QR code. We've just launched our Founder Factory and our Super Team Guilds, so we're really doubling down on the quality of being able to really find that very best talent here in the UK and give you all the opportunities to succeed in the Web3 ecosystem. So I hope you all enjoy today's lovely event. We've got Divya doing an awesome keynote, talking all around how they've been able to revolutionize the Transport for Wales system, and very excited to be able to hear from that. And we've got some awesome guests with Katie coming to speak about Stand with Crypto and the amazing work that they're doing. So I hope you all enjoy and stick around for the evening as well.
Thanks, Pat. So I'm really excited to introduce our first special guest of the evening. This is Katie Harries from Coinbase, and she's going to be talking about their movement, Stand with Crypto. So for all of us that are living and working in this industry, I think this is super important and something that everybody should get involved in. So let's give it up for Katie.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here. So hi, I'm Katie Harries and I'm a Director for International Policy at Coinbase, where we manage the relationship with policymakers and regulators around the world, and I've got the privilege of focusing on the UK. I'm also the UK lead for Stand with Crypto, and this is a movement that was started in the US, born in the US, to drive regulatory clarity. It has been tremendously successful. They have 1 million sign-ups in the US. It was particularly impactful with the Fit21 vote, and it's become crucial in the election campaign. It's driving key decisions in battleground states across the US. So a really impactful initiative in the US, and we want to bring that to the UK. But of course, the UK environment is very different to the US, a very different political context. In the UK, we've had a pro-crypto government, so Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wanted to make the UK a global crypto hub, and we're also making fantastic progress towards regulatory clarity. So we'll probably be seeing legislation that will drive reg clarity in the UK later this year. So some very positive developments in the UK, but we are at a critical inflection point. We all know there's going to be a general election in a few weeks' time. There may be a change in government, where if Labour does come in, we're yet to know what their position will be on digital assets. There's some positive signs. They've already said that they want to be a hub of tokenization, which I think is a positive indication. And we're also entering a very intense period of rulemaking in the UK later this year. So once we see the legislation, the FCA will be writing more detailed rules. So what does this mean? In my view, if you want to win on the policy debate in the UK, you absolutely have to win on explaining the social utility of blockchain technology and crypto assets. And I think the industry needs to do a much better job about explaining the potential of this new technology. There are so many misconceptions among policymakers. I'm sure you've heard them all, that crypto is only used for financial crime. Some say that blockchain technology is good, but crypto assets are bad, that unbacked crypto doesn't have any social utility, that crypto is only used for speculation. These are all the misconceptions that we need to dispel amongst policymakers. So what does Stand with Crypto do? We are all about galvanizing crypto advocates, people that can go out in local communities and make the case for the social utility of this new technology. It's about shining a spotlight on all the innovation that's taking place up and down the country. So not just here in London, but all across the UK. There are small businesses that are deciding to build their businesses on the blockchain, driving real-world use cases, jobs, growth, innovation in local communities up and down the country. And it's about promoting a positive crypto and business environment in the UK for blockchain technology and Web3. So how are we doing this? We've had a number of events across the UK already. We had a fantastic event in the House of Commons where we had lots of MPs, we had the business minister, and we had a shadow business minister, so from both ends of the political spectrum. And we showcased lots of fantastic businesses that are driving real-world use cases. And they were in awe of all the innovation that's taking place in the Web3 space. That was fantastic. We've also launched a manifesto on what we stand for and Stand with Crypto. So this is about wanting the new government to send a positive environment right from the top around making the UK open for business for Web3 companies. It's about driving regulatory clarity. It's about fostering a positive environment for stablecoins and so much more. We also want to drive sign-ups. So demonstrating to the new government and everyone else that people care about crypto. And we want to showcase that with a sheer number of sign-ups. So my ask of you is to stand with crypto and to sign up. And we really hope that you can get involved in this initiative, whether that's as an individual signing up to the campaign, or whether it's as a firm coming to work with us and being partners with us. We're going to announce partnerships in the coming weeks, and we'd love to work with you. So I'm going to be around for a little while. I'd love to chat to you to see how we can work together, and I hope that you'll support the movement.
Thank you, Katie. That was brilliant. So I'm getting ready to introduce Divya for our keynote talk. Just a quick note, guys, to stick around for after the keynote. We have an NFT activation. We're going to hear from Divin, so that will be after Divya's talk. So Divya, without further ado, I would love for you to come on up. Divya from JurnyOn.
Hello everyone, I'm Divya. First of all, thank you so much, Caitlin, for having me here to do this keynote. And super team. Thank you for having me, for creating the space. So thank you so much. Right. So when Caitlin first told me to do this keynote, I was like, how am I going to start? You know, there are so many stories you can start with, and finally I found my inspiration today from an event that I was at. I was listening to Jeffrey Archer, and some of the things that he said really resonated with me. The first thing he said was, when he's in a room, he's always looking for a story. Put up your hands if you are a founder and you're always looking for a problem to solve. That's it. There you go. It's so important to have that mindset as a founder, to constantly look to solve a problem. And then again, the bigger the problem, the better. And then he also went on to say, talk about Jane Austen. He said, she wrote about 4 sisters, it became a hit. Then she wrote about 3 sisters, and then it became, people loved it. And then she wrote about 2 sisters, and then about Emma. And we still read it to this day. So what do we learn from that? You look for problems that are close to, within your sort of environment. Look for problems that are there that you can solve, that you can make a difference to people around you. So having said that, let me segue into my sort of founder story. Right, so it all started in August 2022 when I was speaking at an event in London where I was talking about our PFP rarity ranking platform, and 2 artists came up to me and said, hey, could you help us? I've got this smart contract that I want to create, and somebody's approached us, but I'm having to give away a large portion of my business. At the same time, we're also having to pay for the service. So that got me thinking, and I was like, now there looks like there is a problem here. And a bit of research, having gone back and looked at the numbers, it was staggering. For every 14 million web developer, there were probably about 300 or 400 blockchain developers at that point in time. This was about 2 years ago. And there was a problem staring right in our face, and we said, all right, so let's stop everything that we're doing and create a no-code infrastructure platform. That's really where it started. We built a no-code infrastructure platform, an EVM platform that supports Ethereum and Polygon, and that was our starting point. And from there on, we won a Solana hackathon. We got a grant from Solana, and we built on Solana as well. And so this sort of, having this no-code infrastructure platform was really the basis for us to do all sorts of use cases, all sorts of amazing use cases. Like for instance, a property management company in the States reached out to us and said, hey, can you build a property management app that will enable access into real world property? And that was an amazing sort of start to a journey where we got into IoT, blockchain, and some very exciting real world use cases. So what we did is we created a property management app that would lock and unlock properties, that is Yale Lock. So we were working with Yale, the lock maker, we still do, to enable access into real world property. So it became apparent that blockchain as a technology, it has use cases, and there is a need for the technology. It's not just like some people would say, blockchain is a technology that is looking for a solution. It's more nuanced than that, actually. There are so many problems out there that can be solved. As long as you find a problem that needs a trustless system and immutable record or cryptographic validation. Oh God, okay, I don't have to scream now. Yeah, so cryptographic validation. These are some fantastic sort of utilities that blockchain brings, and using these, you can find various use cases for these sort of amazing technology to be implemented. So from there on, somebody actually saw us showcasing this IoT blockchain technology, and they actually reached out to us and said, hey, would you want to just try maybe build train tickets on the blockchain? And that's really how it all started. And that's our journey. So every opportunity is important, wherein every time you're out there talking to people, make an impression, or at least leave them with a thought. That's important. And so from there on, we were invited to trial and see how we could build tickets on the blockchain. But really, it's all about what is the problem that we're trying to solve, right? The key is why tickets on the blockchain when there's already enough ticketing apps like the train lines and some fantastic apps out there. Well, who lives outside London? Okay, great. And I live outside London, and where I live, I don't have gates. Is that a case with some of you where you live, you don't have gates? Okay, there you go.
Just college.
So, about 85% of the stations outside of London do not have gates. And what you need is a self-validation technology. So that's the problem we are solving here. About 240 million is lost every year due to train and rail card fraud. And what that means is that people are not validating their tickets either before the journey or after the journey, and then claim sometimes that they have not, they have made the journey. So what this technology does is, in the back end, it literally scans if you have made that journey, and then at the beginning and the starting of the journey, you're able to validate your ticket. So imagine, how many of you have used a Phantom or a MetaMask? Raise your hands. Okay, great. So imagine what the ticketing app that we're building is just a Phantom or a MetaMask. That's really what it is at the end of the day. But then you kind of completely abstract the entire blockchain layer, completely abstracted. So what you're able to do is you're able to validate the ticket using cryptography every time you start the journey and you end the journey. That's pretty much what we're doing. You put it in a crypto layman term, right? And that's the power of the technology, and that's the power of the tool, and that's the reason for building it. Okay, I've gone through the problem, and yeah, so the solution, as I said, is, and also an exciting, really exciting aspect is that we're actually introducing subscriptions as a service for the very first time in the UK for ticketing. So how many of you travel into work more than 2 days a week into your offices? Yeah, very few, right? There are very few hands that go up. And we need a solution for that. The vast minority who are not traveling into work, or maybe even just traveling in 1 or 2 days a week. And what we're building is a subscription-based ticketing solution that uses anti-fraud technology, that is cryptography in the back end to validate the tickets. And why is it so exciting for a train operator? Well, a couple of things. Of course, you're able to, even if there are 10 or 20% of the people who are actually not fare dodging intentionally, that is, you're able to bring back almost 30 to 40 million back into the coffers. And there's so much you can do for public service with that money. That's one key aspect. And then again, the installation of the gates and running the gates is a very, very expensive affair. So just to install a gate, it'll cost you at least $1 million. And then to run, to keep it running, it's another $1 million or so every year. So that's $2 million. And some of these stations outside of London can't afford it. Also because there's not enough people to justify those costs. So for places like that, a self-validation technology is amazing. And imagine all you need to do is when you're in the train, if the guard walks up to you and says, can you show me your ticket? You can show that, yeah, I'm validating my ticket, straight away. So it's as simple as that. That's the big sort of value add that we bring in terms of blockchain and AI. We also use conversational AI, so AI as well. So this is something Caitlin definitely wanted me to talk about in detail in terms of our how we raise money and what are the challenges that we face. So some very disturbing sort of statistics is that only about 2% of VC funding goes towards female founders. It's a fact. And then again, when you are, when VCs normally ask you very preventive questions, then promotive questions. So this can be for anybody. It could be for anybody where they ask absolutely random things like, just imagine you're an AI founder and you've been asked, they tell you, okay, how can you solve the problem where a a car is going, is going at speed, and then you've got to choose between, an old person and a young child. That's a very sort of complex ethical question, but these are the sort of preventive questions that might be posed to you as founders. But you need to tackle those questions because not one or two people can solve this problem. These sort of preventive questions probably take a whole academia and a whole bunch of industry to come together to answer these questions. So the best you could do is kind of, prompt them to ask you more promotive questions about your business and ask them, and kind of lead them to ask you more positive questions where they're ready to give you the funding that you're looking for. So that's sort of my take on VC funding and how that landscape looks like. But then beyond just VC funding, there is so many other opportunities that you can go after, because it could be angel investment and or grants and such. So if you are looking for angel investment within the UK, the best thing to do really is to get your company SEIS or EIS ready. That's the most important aspect of running a business here, because that gives investors an incentive to invest in your business and also gives you tax break. And grants is a great way of raising fund without losing equity. As I said, we won a Solana hackathon and we also got some Solana grants. At the same time, we got the Innovate UK grant, which is a very, very competitive grant to get. So again, the experience about winning an Innovate UK grant, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. You should just set aside a good 1 month of your life just for filling out those forms. There are 400 words, but by the time you'll have to say the entire story in those 400 words in every section, and it's impossible, if not, it's absolutely impossible to do it if you do not spend time and understand your business and write that grant in a way in which not just you, but five assessors who are reading it actually think there's a value in investing that money in your business. So yes, so we raise funds through equity, we raise funds through angel investors, we raise funds through grants. So it's really an experience, you've got to do everything and there's no need to be disheartened if you do not get a VC of your choice. Maybe it's just not the right time. So it's all about timing and going through the motions, I suppose. And another question I get very frequently asked is, how is it to work with public and private sector? Actually, more so public sector. But I think, to be honest, there's no difference. You have to find the problem. You should have a problem that needs solving. That's the only thing. And you can't talk about technology for the sake of technology. You've got to say, what is the problem you're trying to solve? It doesn't matter to them whether you're using Microsoft, SQL, Oracle, or blockchain in the back end. For them, it is irrelevant. You've got to say, you should be able to articulate the problem you're trying to solve without getting into the nitty-gritties of the technology. And that's the key aspect of any sort of a conversation with a client, irrespective of whether it is private sector or in public sector. Okay. Yeah. And this is very important. I keep going on about abstraction. The key aspect to any project, doing well is abstraction. You cannot expect somebody who's buying a ticket to remember his mnemonics or her mnemonics. It's impossible. And then if you tell them, oh, now that you've lost your mnemonics, or somebody has got your mnemonics, your ticket is, it's no more your ticket. All of that won't work. You're just going to lose people. So abstraction is the key. You've got to abstract the blockchain layer. Just like, how many of you use Power BI and SQL? Anybody? Yeah, there you go. So does it matter what the backend database? It can be an Excel file, or it can be MS SQL, or it can be an Oracle. Does it matter? Not really. So at the end of the day, the backend shouldn't concern anybody. It can be a blockchain. The blockchain can be Solana. Okay, let's say it's just Solana. It can be other things as well. And there could be Solana, it could be Base, it could be Polygon. It could be so many of these chains, right? And so the point here is we've got to abstract the layer completely and not really talk about the underlying technology because you will lose them again. So, yeah, that's about it, I suppose. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. Anybody has any questions?
What kind of database are you using?
We're using a Solana blockchain in the backend. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you raise money through a SAT?
What's that?
Tokens. Did you
Oh no. So see, we work with very consciously did not go that route because we're working with the public sector. So we I think at this point where we are well funded to carry on the way we are. So we're not doing token launch at this point in time. Maybe 2 years down the line we might consider, but not at this point in time. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were sharing with us that the key was solving the problem. Do you find that the values of blockchain and crypto being transparency, reciprocity, community, do these matter to potential clients or not?
Definitely, very much. So a classic use case within the transportation space is we all strive for one ticket, one journey. That's like the end goal. And especially with that, interportability is a very powerful aspect of the blockchain. So imagine if I buy a ticket on the train and there are other sort of networks for the bus and the tram, I can transfer this, the NFT between these networks. That's a huge one. And transparency is a very big one as well, because in terms of the data that they get within these ecosystems is almost delayed by 24 to 48 hours. So immediately being able to give them the data to make improvements to their sort of services is a huge value add. So blockchain transparency is a big one, without a doubt. And of course, interportability is a big one. And did you say cryptography? Did you mention that?
I said reciprocity and accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The trustless system, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Josh.
Do you remember this?
Yes, I
Do
do.
you remember this?
Yes. So that's literally the underlying technology, it's just an NFT at the end of the day.
So,
And
just on this note, I got a question about this actually. So if you don't know me, I'm the host of Crypto Mondays Global. I'm so proud to be here with this amazing team, this amazing place. I've known Divya for several years now, and when she first made this no-code platform, I was super impressed, and she gave me this at an event. You see what it is? She said, "You're Batman." And she gave me this, this is my friend. I said, "But you know what, Divya?" I said, I got a little bit of Batman and a little bit of Joker in me too. And she said, "You got to turn it around." And I turned it around, and there's Batman and the Joker together. And I love that personalization and that opportunity there. And this is quite different than what I'm hearing about tonight. And you pivoted to the market and what was needed, and you've worked a whole month, like you said, to make this train ticket thing happen. For all the founders and all these people there, I mean, there's some Solana founders here, right? Some builders? Yeah? Solana legions here? Yeah? So for all these people that are thinking about these kind of NFTs with cool pictures or things like that, you kind of pivoted towards something that then got you expanded. How did you know how to do that, and how?
yeah,
walk us through that.
Exactly what I said. Look for, what did Jeffrey Archer say? He said, "I'm always looking for a story when I'm around. When I'm everywhere I go." It's the same thing. Every time I'm doing something, I'm looking for something that needs disruption, that needs to be improved. It's very important to constantly innovate and improve. And that's the key. Look for challenges, look for problems, and especially look for big problems. So this is probably one of the most complex problems because it involves blockchain, IoT. So always look for bigger problems and how you can change maybe 1 million people's life, or 10 million people's life. And that's how every founder should look at, draw their inspiration from, these stories and try and see where they can find the bigger problem, and that's the bottom line. So yeah, for us, we started with what we would call POAPs. There we are, and that is actually a POAP sort of a thing for an event that we created, and here we are, building tickets on the blockchain. So there you go. You have to constantly learn, adjust, make improvements, and move forward. Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
Can you talk about one of the big challenges you face that you haven't covered yet, and then how you overcame it? Just like, those examples are powerful usually.
I think the biggest challenge is, so when we first started talking about ticketing, right, there were so many questions because they've all seen how, first of all, there are these myths about blockchain being only about cryptocurrencies and scam. And so we have got to get over that one hurdle. That's the first sort of challenge, I suppose. The next is, okay, now you can do great. So you want to do ticketing on the blockchain, but look at how clunky it can be to purchase an NFT or any of the assets, right? You've got to send the gas. You've got to every time you buy something, you should have a bit of gas fee. So we had to think of ways to improve that user experience. How do we make it a gasless user experience? So today, if I have to send you an NFT, you should have a little bit of gas for me to send that NFT to you and to receive it. How do I change that user experience? So we had to go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what do we do now? So we had to kind of make it in such a manner that we pay off the gas when the transaction happens. And then, the other challenge is the mnemonics and such. How would I expect an everyday ordinary person to remember, his mnemonics and such? So what can we do? How can we improve that? So we've had to abstract the entire sort of layer where you need to remember your mnemonics and all of that to make it a very simple user experience where it just looks like your standard iOS or your Android app, and you're getting all the goodness of AI and all the goodness of blockchain, and you're getting a great user experience. Yeah.
But then, do you need a wallet? Do you need to open a wallet before you?
See, that's it. You don't need a wallet. That's the beauty. The beauty is there's no wallet. The app already is your wallet, and you don't even know it's a wallet. And that's it. The key is abstraction. You have to abstract the blockchain layer. Okay. So, okay. I'll come to you just a minute. So abstraction literally means making it simple for someone. So if you are using a WhatsApp, do I have to tell you how to use WhatsApp? Do I have to tell you you have to do a select star from table, or I should do an insert when I'm, you don't need to know all of that. You don't know. It's all happening in the back end, right? All you know is that I need to talk to my friend, and I'm just going to text her, and she's going to text me back. Nobody, you don't have to know that there's an encryption, an end-to-end encryption, none of that. So that is abstraction. That is abstraction, wherein you are completely removing that layer where I need to. So if I have a wallet, a phantom wallet today, I need to remember my, seed phrases, right? I need to remember my seed phrases. Otherwise, if I lose my wallet, then if I have to recover my wallet, I need to remember my seed phrases. But that is a problem. Everyday people do not and will not do that. They will not remember a seed phrase, let alone, recover their wallets. So you've got to completely abstract that layer. So that is the abstraction I'm talking about. Yeah? Yeah. There's one other gentleman. 1 minute. I'll come to you. Yeah?
You're kind of going to touch on what you were just saying there, like how you educate users or future users how to use the platform or how it's built. And you sounded like the CEO of NVIDIA said that, not everyone needs to learn how to code.
Exactly that.
Where do you fall with that sort of paradigm shift?
Yeah, that's really where we are going. So today you don't have to, you just need an idea. You should have a vision to write a piece of code. That's where we have come to with AI technology. And that's really how it should be even with blockchain. You know, so we got to, these things. Why should we? If I have an idea, why should I be dependent on a developer? I should be able to do it myself, right? And that's what AI does today. You have that sort of complete abstraction where I have a vision, I have an idea. Okay, I want to create an application, and I want to do it in iOS. So you first go figure out what are the technologies that can support iOS development, and then you go from there, and then you kind of talk to the AI, and then you build it, right? In a similar manner with these blockchain-based apps, you've got to completely not get into the blockchain aspect of it. It just stays in the back end. What is blockchain at the end of the day? It's just a database or a ledger. It's a ledger, it's a decentralized ledger. That's it. It's just a database, right? So it's just irrelevant what is in the back end. It could be any of the blockchains that are in the back end. Use what you're comfortable with and what you understand. That's the key. And nobody else needs to know it. Nobody who's using it needs to know that at all. And that's the key.
I'm sorry, you're hurting my feelings, really. Divya, as a crypto native, I care about self-custody.
Yeah.
For me, blockchain is not just a database.
Yeah.
It's just a database, it's another database.
Yeah.
It's about decentralization and self-custody.
Yeah.
Not for third party. So you're hurting my feelings, I'm sorry. You have to say something. It's not like you can generalize, you have to abstract everything, but sorry, come now. I suggest for users like me who are automatic, make two options. One, you abstract private key infrastructure from the users, and the second option for people like me, where you don't store somebody's mnemonic private keys, and you let them.
So this is a fantastic point you raised. Okay, with all this that we do, we still cannot hold custody of these mnemonics. Let me make very, very clear. We cannot hold custody because that takes us into a completely different dynamics. So we use technology that is out there for self-custody. You know, we use some very, very interesting self-custody based technology where only you are aware. So even though I can see on the cloud the data set, I don't know what your private keys and public keys are. We use technology that encrypts the entire information about the secret key and such. So only the individual, it's a self-custody system that we use actually, yeah? But then we use what you call your socials to be able to do self-custody of the wallet. And of course, for people who might want to have the mnemonics, absolutely, that's something we'll definitely consider, yeah.
Just a quick question. What's the key matrix? How did you measure the success of this project?
Well, what is it?
What was the key matrix you were referring to? How did you measure the success?
So the key metrics, yeah? So for us, yeah, I think for the key is it's simple. What's the problem you're trying to solve, right? What's the problem? For decades now, the ticketing system has not changed. And there is still a big gaping hole of 240 million that is lost due to train and rail card fraud. And nobody's addressed it. Yes, there's a lot of analytics in play where they do a lot of analytics in the back of the ticket purchase and the journey, but nobody's tried to do it at source. And this is the problem we were trying to solve. And because this problem is a big problem within the industry and every train operator understands and acknowledges the problem, that is why we are here. That's why we are successful. And that's the most important piece. You have to solve the problem that is most pressing and that's most important to your audience. That's very important. Yeah.
You got a grant from Innovate UK.
Yeah.
What is Innovate UK?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
how
great.
Much did you get, if you're willing to say, and should we all be applying for grants?
I wouldn't say how much I got, but I can give you answers to everything else. So yeah, so Innovate UK is a grant that is given away to innovative businesses that are doing R&D in the UK. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing way of kind of working on your R&D or innovative project because you do not lose equity. Yeah. But yes, it's super competitive. You know, you're talking about 2 to 5% success rate. It's very competitive, so be mindful. If you don't get to the first time, you know, you can always give it a second attempt, or, you know, you can keep trying. But it takes time and effort. And in terms of whether I would recommend people to apply, absolutely. You know, why wouldn't you? If you have the time, you know, and if you have a good 1 month to set aside and do that round, and if you feel that your innovation is really novel, that's very important. If your innovation, do a bit of what you would call Google patent search, just to see you're not infringing any of those patents. That's very, very important. Okay, so you should know that your innovation is innovative, and then put in that 1 month or 2 month. But again, it can be very thankless sometimes, because you might just end up, you know, doing it 1 month, spending 1 or 2 months on it and not go anywhere with it. So that's the flip side to it. But yes, I would definitely encourage everybody to apply for Innovate UK if you are doing something innovative and interesting. Yeah.
And do you store user data?
So there is an element of data we have to store, but we are GDPR compliant. So any customer data is off-chain, and only ticketing information is on-chain, because we have to adhere to GDPR rules and regulations.
So you've got centralized server with people's
Yes, on-chain and off-chain, absolutely, because we cannot have, as much as you want, you might say you might use zero knowledge proof to encrypt the data and put it on the blockchain. You still can't do it, because as per GDPR, you have to have some data, which is especially personal data, to be completely in the UK and off-chain.
That's not true. You have self-sovereign digital identity.
Okay, so in our case, we, as part of our due diligence and rules and rigorous, as part of the regulations, we have to keep the customer data off-chain. So we do our data off-chain, and it has to be in a UK server. So that's a requirement for ticketing.
The trainers will get better.
So that's a larger problem. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to save them money, so.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Divya. Okay, last but not least, Jana with David. I'm so excited to welcome you up on stage. Talk to us about real asset-backed NFTs.
Hi. All right, so Divya, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And I know that one of the things you talked about is founders. How do you solve a problem? Well, I'm going to talk to you today about an industry that I think really, really needed a blockchain solution. Okay, so my name's Jana. I'm one of the founders of Divin, and what Divin is doing is we are basically building a new operating system for the luxury wine market on chain. All right, so usually when I start these kind of talks, I make sure that everybody has a glass of wine. We're gonna do that after. So there's a QR up here. If you guys wanna scan it and then come see me after this talk in the back, there's a bar over there. I'm gonna be pouring champagne and answering any questions that you have. So, yeah, champagne, I know. Okay, so yeah, we're here today to talk about real world applications of blockchain, right? Okay, well, wine is a pretty real world thing, as it turns out, but it's different. If you think about RWA, right? Wine is different because it's RWA meets IRL. All right, so it's different than RWA like a bond or a bar of gold that's sitting somewhere in reserve, right? So we're talking about a bottle of wine that is worth something. It's collectible and it's rare for this use case. Okay, and you're actually opening that physical bottle of wine with hopefully someone you like, physically in person. Okay, and so that's really interesting for a whole bunch of reasons, but there's just a lot of issues in the wine industry, the way it works right now, where there's no connection between the winemaker and that person who's pulling the cork, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about DPIN and touch on a few different points, but first I'm gonna explain how the wine industry has worked for 1,000 years, okay? We need a breath of fresh air and we need some data. So traditionally, the way the industry works, my background is very much in wine. I came into tech, no kidding, 2.5 years ago. Holy shit. Traditional wine background, okay? And so the way the wine industry works is when you're in the luxury space, you've got wineries in Bordeaux and Burgundy and Champagne and Napa. And when a wine leaves the estate, it travels 5 layers through the supply chain, typically, right? And then it'll usually trade on the secondary market 3-4 times statistically, all right? The problem is the winemaker loses all visibility after the first point of sale, which is crazy because that leaves them with no power of decision making, right? So let's introduce blockchain and talk about DePIN solutions, right? So imagine you can now track a bottle of wine from grape to glass, all right, all the way through the supply chain. And now, what happens when that bottle of wine is opened, right? It's a consumable product. So why do we want to tokenize a consumable product? Well, the winemaker wants that consumption data, right? So let's track the bottle, let's connect a piece of hardware onto the bottle, right? Create a digital asset for each unique bottle of wine, an NFT, right? A digital product passport, if you will, in Europe. And you create that digital twin to the physical asset. You connect a piece of hardware, you know, RFID, NFC, whatever it is. You track that wine through every point of the supply chain. And then when the end consumer pulls the cork, you want to incentivize that person for pulling the cork to share their consumption data, right? We talk about data and privacy and anonymity in blockchain, but if you incentivize that end consumer to share their consumption data, what the winemaker has never had access to, not in 1,000 years, right? They're operating with a clipboard and a piece of paper right now. I kid you not. And so if you incentivize that person to share their consumption data, this is great for a whole bunch of reasons, okay? So now you've got, the winemaker has all this information about who his truest fans are, and he's actually able to, you know, acquire new customers, direct to consumer. That's a big benefit for a winemaker. But he's also able to actually create now a brand loyalty program, right? When you talk about Web3 and brand loyalty, that's a huge topic. So how do you incentivize the person to share their consumption data? Cryptocurrency. So Divin is about to launch our own native token in September, and the idea behind it is that it's actually going to be the fuel for the entire ecosystem of the luxury wine industry. So the winemaker will now, before that bottle leaves the cellar, embed crypto into every single bottle of wine. How much crypto? Depends on how much the data is worth to them, right? And now that bottle goes through the supply chain, and at the end, the person pulls the cork, they tap the bottle, right? A little thing pops up on the screen, super user-friendly, actually very Web 2 front-facing, and it says, do you want to open this bottle? Yes. Digitally uncork. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Now your digital twin is destroyed, and it turns into something called a tasting token, which is basically just a POAP, right? It's a proof of experience that you tasted that wine, and it's non-transferable. At the same time, the crypto is released into your account. We don't say wallet. This is very similar kind of to what Divya was saying, right? We want this to be very adoptable and user-friendly. So anybody who is engaging with this technology, and we're working with Deloitte, actually, they're gonna go out and do the installations at all of the wineries. It'll be like having an account. This is your account with Divin, or this is your account with the winery, and in the end, we will sort of disappear into the background and become like Stripe, right? And take a little piece of every transaction that happens. We're not looking to be a big brand that everybody knows about. We're building a base layer for everybody else to build on top of. And so we launched 2.5 years ago, and we think that as we go, the first thing that we did was we built the digital cork and the tasting token, and then we built a little private club, and that's closed now for new members. It's kind of our sandbox that we use to test the technology. It was a really interesting, fun project to build and just see, you know, how do we get people who are absolutely not crypto native, not Web3 native. We're talking about some of the biggest wine collectors in the world, right? Oftentimes these people don't, you know, they don't even remember their password for their email account, right? So Web3 can be very intimidating. And so we made it very, very user-friendly on the front end, and it's been working very well. And I want to keep this kind of short, so I want to take a couple questions here and then get everybody a glass of champagne in the back. But I do want to say we're really excited to be building the currency and launching that with Solana in September. So go Solana. Yes.
Sorry. How do you stop somebody in the supply chain from scanning all the bottles from an anonymous account and meeting all the crypto?
Yeah, okay, so what we're doing is building a transparent system, not a trustless system, right? But, and that's a great question. What we're envisioning for the DPIN solution, and we're building the base layer everyone can build on top of, anyone in the supply chain. But if you think about, an Amazon store, right? Pretty cool, you walk in, you fill up your bag, and then you leave and everything just checks out as you walk out of the store. So through the supply chain, the idea is that, for example, when the wine first leaves the cellar, it's on a pallet. Every single bottle in every case of wine on that pallet has its own unique NFT. And then when that pallet rolls out the door, they all get checked off automatically and updated in the system. And then that chain of custody updates in the app. And we certainly will encourage all of the people that work in the supply chain along the way to use security, but we're building the tech. This is really a question for my co-founder Dave, the tech guy. Do you have any questions about wine? Great, dodged that one. Yeah.
How do you connect each to the blockchain?
Sorry?
How do you connect each bottle to the blockchain?
Yeah, so every single bottle is an NFT. We started out with we built on Ethereum and we use Polygon. Yeah.
Let me rephrase.
Yeah.
How do you bridge the physical world to the digital world?
Okay, so you create the NFT and then you connect to the.
You need a connection between RFID.
Yeah, RFID, NFC. Yeah, maybe we need the tech guy for these questions. Yeah.
So I've done a bit of work in the luxury space. So I'm assuming the data is most valuable to wineries over a certain threshold. What kind of rewards can you get to a position to make it incentivize kind of like these more luxury clients to engage with the app? Is the VIN rewards particularly like tailored, or is there? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we're talking about wines in the luxury space, which statistically is any wine that is statistically above $36 US, which isn't really where we are. But we're really talking about like the top 200-300 wineries in the world. So those wines are really leaving the chateau at about $100 a bottle, and by the time they're sold, they're probably selling on average for like $800 to $1,000. Now those winemakers are only making, let's say, 13,000 bottles of wine a year of their top wine. So it's really important for them to be able to know who's drinking their bottles, right? So you can think about allocation. One of the biggest things with luxury wine is it's very, everybody wants to be able to say that they drank a Petrus or a DRC, if that means anything to you guys, some of the most expensive wines in the world, but you can't buy it. It's like trying to buy a supercar. You need to have bought this, and this wine before, and you need to have an allocation. So if a winemaker can now say, like if I can walk into a winery and show all of the proof of experience, the tasting tokens for every wine that I've had from their estate over the years, even if I didn't own the bottle, even if someone else owned the bottle and then shared that wine with me, inside every digital cork, every bottle comes with the ability to mint 12 tasting tokens. So you can share those tokens to the people you shared the wine with, and they can build their allocation directly with the winemaker. So that's a reward that's not on the crypto side, right? And then they can decide whatever kind of bespoke experiences, unique experience they want to add to, let's say, their Grand Cru status members who had whatever, a vertical of 10 wines this year, then they can then decide winemakers, dinners, barrel tastings. There's all kinds of things that they can do aside from the crypto incentive. Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll do questions by the champagne, okay? Yeah. Is it a tech question? How techy is it? Just kidding, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're starting from right
mm-hmm.
that's where all your wine so if actually he has started and released one
yeah.
So if
Okay, should we go and drink some champagne? Everybody make sure you mint the token, all right? And then we'll drink some really nice champagne.
Thank you, Jana. That was brilliant. Guys, all the way in the back where the kitchen is when you first walked in, that's where the champagne will be served. There'll be food, and we got networking here for the next hour or so. So thank you guys for your attention. Enjoy.